All right. Believe in the power of prayer. It was raining this morning. I was like, Lord, just a window, just a little window. And I promise you, it didn't rain until we called it up to have our team meeting at the end. So I was glad. I was excited about that. Now, we were up for the challenge. You know, we had a wet practice yesterday, but I just loved, because of the opportunity to go against the Browns. Kevin Stefanski and I have known each other for 15 years. We both were quality control coaches for Darrell Bevel, who's down in Miami. And so he and I have a lot in common. And so, you know, we had some good interchanges. The veteran guys met before practice, talk about rules of engagement. You know, this is what we're expecting. We expect it to be a physical day. We're not going to dive at legs, and on our side, at least on the offensive side, that didn't happen. It was a physical style of play. And the good part is, too, like when the emotions start going, there was a couple of pushing and shoving and a little bit of face mask lockup a couple times, but I saw two groups come in there, not to throw haymakers and blindside shots, but to pull the guys apart. And they were kind of jawing at each other in a playful way, big smiles and a lot of juice. I mean, I can't dream of a better situation, a better scenario to have that kind of competition, but also to be able to respect each other. And so really just tribute to, you know, Kevin and the Browns coming in here and getting some good work in.
What can you tell us about JC?
Yeah, I don't have a lot of details. I mean, you guys can, you know, check with the local authorities for the accident. I'm glad that JC was okay. He did have to have a few stitches in his left thumb area. And so they got that all cleaned up and sutured up. He's day to day right now. We're just going to kind of evaluate. It doesn't seem like anything else happened. But, you know, we're just going to kind of evaluate him each day. He'll be able to still do some activity and running and all that. But he will not play this game. Hopefully we can get him turned around so we can take advantage of an opportunity in Houston, you know, for that game, which was kind of the plan all along.
What hand was that on?
On his left hand.
Do you know how it happened?
I don't. I just know it was a car accident. I got a text and a call from all of our guys, and they just kind of let us know that they were bringing him in to look at it, and then you know, got him stitched up, cleaned up, and then we'll just kind of see what happens because as you all may, I don't know if any of you have been in a car accident, but there's things that kind of present the night of the next day. So we're just going to monitor him and make sure he's fine.
Sounds like it was just right out here, outside the stadium. Right?
Yeah, I think it was like Mint and Moorhead right here. So just I don't know exactly what happened, but I know that's where it was at.
You said the plan all along was the plan for Houston, so
Yeah.
Friday wasn't in the works then.
No, Friday was. Yeah, but the plan was to play the starters in the first two games. Mm-hmm.
Dave, it looked like Bryce threw the ball pretty well out there today. I know you have to probably go back and look at it, but what stood out to you, if anything?
Oh, yeah, just finding his guys down the field, you know, guys being available to him. I think the 7-on-7 period, they weren't on the same page a couple times. And so there's something that we can kind of work through. But, you know, I just loved, you know, the bounce back plays. You know, the Browns are pros too. They made some plays out there, you know, and just a highlight to see that front. It's a pretty good front, you know, adding Mason Graham inside, of course. You know, Myles Garrett was out there. And so just loved the physical style play that was happening. But Bryce was able to find some opportunities down the field. And we looked a little leggy. We got after it yesterday. You know, I'll be honest. We looked a little leggy at first, but the guys kind of got going in the practice. And, of course, just competition brings out the best in the guys.
What does leggy mean? I mean,
oh, just, you know, when you go back-to-back practice days, you know, we had a good one yesterday in the rain, yes. So just leggy just means like I could tell there were times, you know, guy kind of comes out of a break and, you know, loses his footing a little bit. And so, you know, camp's starting to accumulate. But I love that part because that means we're getting to the place where we're pushing our guys beyond their limits, and it'll pay off for us.
Canales got kind of banged up in there.
Yeah.
What happened with him, and did he actually leave practice?
Yeah, so we're going to evaluate him for a groin injury. We're going to take a look at that, kind of let it calm down a little bit this afternoon. But they'll check him out right now, and then we'll recheck him in the morning to see where he's at.
He had a really nice play the play before where he broke up a pass. It seemed like the linebackers were particularly busy and the run defense looked pretty good. What did you see from them in general?
I didn't get to see a second of that part of the practice because I was on the offensive field. Can't wait to watch it.
Dave, you mentioned that there were a couple moments where guys weren't on the same page. What does it take for you to run a play back or to want to see it over again? Is that a thing you do?
Oh yeah, we will. Like we'll either repeat it at the end of a drill, because what you don't want to do is go right back out there. The defense saw the concept, you know, just for the sake of just giving the play a chance to start off. So we'll either repeat it at the end of that drill, or we just say, hey, that's another one we got to get back to. We wait till the next day to get it. And the good part about that too is we don't always want to just give them another opportunity right away. You don't get that in the game. You know, you get one shot sometimes versus this particular coverage, you know, and or it might be a pressure from our defense and we're trying to attack a protection or something. You get one shot, you know, so the execution is a premium.
Bryce?
Defensively, how do you feel like you guys did out there? I mean, I know you haven't seen all the tape and everything.
I haven't seen any of it. So I just fist bumped E and he said, it went pretty good. We got to watch it. That's kind of all I have right now on the defense.
Defensive field,
Yeah.
obviously. It looked like a good day for Bryce. McMillan had a drop.
Yeah.
Take us through your assessment of the offense.
Yeah, the first couple of drills, I think the first team period, I was excited about the execution. I was excited about the physicality of it. You know, some of our play actions we were able to hold up, which can get a little funky, you know, with different fronts. It's a different defense, you know, than what we've been playing all camp. So that's a challenge. But I loved the run game, loved how we moved it, you know. And then the second team period, it got sloppy. You know, we weren't throwing flags. We had I think 3 delay of games and 2 false starts. We can't have that. You know, we're going to put ourselves in really bad spots, you know, when we're putting ourselves in 1st and 15, you know, and or if it's a 3rd and 6 and we have a false start, you know, all of a sudden it's 3rd and 11, you know, and makes it really hard. You know, now you're in the 20% or less, you know, conversion zone. So I think that's something that just from what I saw, you know, I was very excited about the physicality. I was very excited about the execution after the snap, pre-snap. These kind of opportunities really shine light on what you need to work on. And so
Calling some of the offense or all the offense?
yeah, he's been calling all of training camp, you know, and our practices were scripted out that way. And I trust Brad, you know, we've been together forever, 2 years, you know, for myself as a play caller. So he and I have been it allows me, when he calls the practice like that, it really allows me to be engaged on both sides, you know. And I got, you know, some of my mentors just challenged me to like make sure the defense can feel you, make sure special teams can feel you. They need what you have to bring. They need your presence as a reminder of our standards of practice and what we're looking for. And so, you know, Brad allows me to do that.
Dave,
Following up on Bryce a little bit, we saw him targeting T-Mac a lot.
Yeah.
What can you tell me about the evolution from this rookie wideout with his QB1?
Yeah, it's going great. You know, I love the chemistry that they're developing. I think that, you know, especially down the field, you know, Bryce has been giving, you know, T-Mac a lot of opportunities, a lot of shots down the field to figure out where can I put this, where he's going to be able to get his hands on it, you know. And on the play that he had a touchdown that he dropped today, and he was kind of running a corner route, and Bryce kind of, instead of leading him to the back pylon, Bryce kind of threw it right behind the defender. And I think that was a new one, you know, for T-Mac, because he was like, oh, shoot, this is a good spot for it. Bryce kind of saw it. So I was excited about that. Bryce turned around to me. We're both smiling, and we would love him to catch that ball. He will. But I love just taking those attempts down the field just because it's just the me to you factor, you know, learning new skill players within our scheme.
Dave, going back to what Brad calling plays, would that be something, an opportunity you'd ever give him during the preseason? Or
Yeah.
was your focus, okay.
Preseason, absolutely. Regular season could be, you know, I think that I still have a lot to give to our team in terms of, you know, being able to have the continuity and the, you know, just kind of building off of the first year, you know. But in the preseason, absolutely. Jarrell will do the same thing, you know, with Pete Hansen, with Jonathan Cooley. These are guys that we would love to develop. You know, we're a developmentally minded organization, and that's our players, but it's also our coaching staff, you know. And I think back to my time in Seattle, and I got opportunities to call plays in scrimmages. I got opportunities to call, not to call any of the preseason games, but when we would have move the ball periods and say the second or third group was up, you know, they'd be like, here, give you the walkie-talkie and go for it. Here's, you know, so I would like kind of prep the night before and have a couple of thoughts, and it just kind of got my juices going. And so that the first time I get a chance to be an offense coordinator in Tampa, it's not the first time I've ever called plays through a microphone with the delays and all that. So I love that. I love, you know, having that opportunity for those coaches to kind of think for the next step in their careers.
You've praised Jack for his work behind the scenes,
Yeah.
and obviously in that third quarterback role, you're getting very limited reps. We
Yeah.
saw a really nice play from him to end practice. How much more prepared do you think he is for this preseason than maybe he was last year?
Yeah, a lot more prepared. You know, I saw him take steps throughout last preseason from one game to the next in terms of his operation, just calming down, knowing how to win his way. And then I saw him play really well against the Bills in the third preseason game. So I fully expect, Jack to continue to take strides. He's been there before. He knows all the words. And also to just help elevate the rest of the group, because when you get out there in games, sometimes a guy might not line up properly. Sometimes the clock's running low and, hey, we got to go. So I feel really confident that he'll be able to help that group operate.
Jalen Coker came up with a couple of touchdown passes and 7-on-7s with a kind of a loaded wide receiver room.
Yeah.
What has competition been brought out in him? Have you seen in camp?
Yeah, I think Jalen has taken full advantage of the 5 weeks that we had off since the spring. In OTAs, he kind of just was ramping up, kind of getting a plan for his readiness, and he came back a different athlete. I have to say, of all the guys, Jalen really did a great job of just working on his transition, his speed, his body comp, his readiness for practice and all that. And I think he's just taking steps. He was a rookie last year, kind of thrown into the fire. And this year now he's got a plan. He's got a routine. We talk to the guys about the routines, and people ask, who are the players that you've seen have success over time? It's the young players that have been able to help. They just kind of watch a veteran player and they just follow kind of their preparation, when they study, when they take care of their body, how they recover their legs and all those things. And, and Jalen, he shows up like this, and you're playing against other pros, and he's got game experience, so this isn't too big for Jalen. And he got out there and made some great plays. So, and I'm also excited about his impact on special teams. He's done a great job this camp, also covering kicks and also as a blocker.
It looks like he's doing a lot more of that this summer. How much of a learning curve is that for a guy who in college probably wasn't doing that much of it?
Yeah, it's huge, and I think it tells us a lot about the football player, and their ability to adjust on the fly. Special teams, like you think you have this guy and all of a sudden there's a twist, and it's really reacting on your feet and eyes and kind of knowing at the end of the day, I got to get my hands on somebody on this play. And if you're covering the kick, you have your primary responsibility, then go make a play, so those guys will show up the more we have live reps like we did today. And the more we have these preseason opportunities where the speed of the game, everything goes up, who are the guys that can execute, get off of blocks or maintain it.
What's your plan for the starters Friday?
I think a couple of series. My hope is if you get a good long first drive, we're done there. If it's a 3-and-out on either side, I'd love to give them another shot. Somewhere in the, if I had a perfect number, it'd be probably 8 to 12 would be like my high hope for the group. And again, like we talked about, it starts the night before. It's the preparation. It's the morning of. It's what you eat on game day. It's the body readiness, kind of working through those nerves before the game and getting yourself into a great headspace to be able to perform.
Bryson Tremaine, does he have a shot here?
Absolutely. I think it's because of all the things we talked about with Jalen. He's doing the right things offensively. He's physical in the run game blocking, which is really important to us. He's being where he's supposed to be when he's supposed to be there as a receiver, and then he's doing stuff on special teams. And so these are all things that we love, and he's going to give himself a real chance.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks,
Thank
Dave.
you.